Tommy Lee Jones's family has finally spoken out about the tragic loss of his daughter. The world knew Jones as a tough, private movie star, but behind the scenes, his family faced a pain that few ever saw. Now, loved ones are breaking their quiet, sharing what happened, how they've coped, and what his daughter meant to them.
San Francisco's Office of the Chief Medical Examiner has now confirmed that Victoria Jones, the daughter of actor Tommy Lee Jones, was found dead in the city on New Year's Day. The Jones's body was discovered at the Fairmont Hotel around 3 a.m. yesterday.
Tommy Lee Jones's daughter, Victoria Jones, died on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2026. The 34-year-old was found unresponsive in a room at the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco, and emergency responders pronounced her dead at the scene early that morning. Authorities say no foul play is suspected, and the official cause of death has not yet been released pending investigation. On January 2nd, the family released a brief but emotional statement to the public. It read, "We appreciate all of the kind words, thoughts, and prayers. Please respect our privacy during this difficult time. Thank you." Their words reflect the deep grief that comes with losing a loved one, especially at the very start of a new year. Many fans and fellow actors have shared condolences online, offering support as the family navigates this painful moment. Victoria was the daughter of Jones and his first wife, Kimberly Clofley. She had a life shaped both by Hollywood and personal struggle. As a child, she appeared in several projects connected to her father. She had a small role in Men in Black 2 and appeared in The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada, which was directed by her father. She also had a brief part in the television series One Tree Hill. Despite these early roles, Victoria's life was not always focused on acting. In recent years, she faced personal challenges, including run-ins with the law. In 2025, she was arrested multiple times in Napa County, California, on charges including being under the influence of a controlled substance and possession of a narcotic, as well as unrelated domestic violence allegations. She pleaded not guilty to those charges. Authorities have not confirmed an official cause of death, but dispatch audio and early reports from emergency responders suggest her situation may be linked to a suspected drug overdose. Paramedics mentioned a term called color change, a sign that can indicate problems like low oxygen levels in overdose cases. However, no official confirmation has been made, and the medical examiner will determine the actual cause once testing is complete. On New Year's morning, firefighters were called to the Fairmont Hotel around 2:50 a.m., responding to a medical emergency. Paramedics attempted life-saving measures, including CPR, but were unable to revive Victoria. Police later confirmed that foul play was not suspected and that the case was under investigation. The Fairmont Hotel also released a statement, saying it was deeply saddened by the incident and that staff were cooperating with investigators. Their message offered heartfelt condolences to the family and loved ones during this very difficult time. Tommy Lee Jones, now in his late 70s, is best known for his award-winning acting career. He won an Academy Award for his role in The Fugitive and has starred in major films like No Country for Old Men, Lincoln, and the Men in Black series. His daughter's passing comes as a sudden and unexpected blow. Victoria's life had moments of promise, including her early screen work and the support of her father, but it also involved struggles with substance use and legal troubles, according to public records. These challenges re-entered public view after her death, leading to discussions online about how addiction and mental health issues can affect families, even those in the spotlight. Fans have taken to social media to express sorrow and sympathy. Many commented that losing a child at any age is devastating, and that the timing, right after the holidays and at the start of a new year, makes it even more poignant. Some viewers pointed out that Victoria was still young at 34, and others shared personal stories of loss and healing.
Tommy Lee Jones is here. He won an Oscar for his work in The Fugitive. First, there is In the Valley of Elah by Paul Haggis, the director. It also stars Charlize Theron and Susan Sarandon.
And the Oscar goes to Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones was born on September 15, 1946, in the tiny Texas town of San Saba, home to just 3,000 people. From the start, his family life was unstable. His father, Clyde, worked in oil fields and had been a cowboy, while his mother, Lucille, juggled jobs as a police officer, school teacher, and beautician all at once. Their marriage was turbulent. They married and divorced twice, and the townspeople never let it go unnoticed. Tommy grew up watching his parents fight, separate, and then come back together repeatedly. Each time they split, the family moved. Clyde's oil field jobs added to the instability. These early years left Tommy serious and guarded. Even as a child, he kept his emotions locked away. What the outside world saw was only a fraction of the reality at home. Clyde had a violent temper. When Tommy was small, Clyde would return home exhausted and drunk after 12-hour shifts in the heat. Even minor mistakes, like tracking mud into the trailer, could trigger brutal beatings. The abuse worsened in the early 1950s when a drop in oil prices left Clyde unemployed for 6 months. In their Midland trailer park, neighbors could hear furniture smashing and screams late into the night. Tommy later admitted that his childhood involved significant physical abuse. He had to constantly read his father's moods to stay safe. That blank, unreadable expression he later became famous for in Hollywood came from these early lessons. Showing fear could make things worse. One morning in 1954 changed everything. Clyde was at a drill site when a gas pocket exploded at 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. A fireball shot 200 feet into the air. 2 men died, and equipment within 50 yards was destroyed. Clyde suffered third-degree burns over 30% of his body and spent 3 months in the hospital. Tommy, just 8, started taking on small jobs to help support the family. He watched his father scream in his sleep and learned that a single moment could shatter a family. That memory stayed with him forever. Because of his parents' unstable marriage and Clyde's frequent job changes, Tommy never stayed at one school for long. By age 12, he had attended 7 schools across Texas: Midland, Sabinal, Roton, always having to start over. His grades slipped from A's to C's. At Robert E. Lee High School in Midland, wealthy classmates looked down on him. Tommy had little, but he was big, 6 feet 1 inch and 200 pounds, and he used his size to fight back. He joined the football team and played hard, sometimes too hard, earning suspensions. But on the field, no one dared to challenge him. When he was 13, his father took a high-paying job in Libya, but Tommy stayed in Texas after earning a scholarship to St. Mark's School in Dallas, one of the state's top schools. By 16, he spent summers back on the oil rigs, working alongside his father. The shifts lasted 14 hours in 110-degree heat. The work was dangerous. He handled heavy drills, cleaned up chemicals, and stood near equipment that could easily kill. In 1962, he saw a co-worker lose 3 fingers in front of him. Blood sprayed across the drill floor, and help didn't arrive for 45 minutes. That summer, he earned $3.50 an hour, lost 25 pounds, and developed calluses that never went away. One day, a 500-pound drill bit broke loose and nearly crushed him. Those years taught him pain, discipline, and grit. He never forgot the smell of diesel or the feeling of being seconds from death. In 1965, Tommy Lee Jones was accepted to Harvard on a scholarship. His first dorm room was in Murr Hall, B12. Across the hall lived Al Gore, who would later become vice president. They became roommates for all 4 years. They also lived with Bob Summerby, who later ran a media watchdog site. Tommy and Gore spent long nights discussing books and politics, forming a bond that lasted decades. Tommy gave a speech for Gore at the 2000 Democratic National Convention and helped host a concert celebrating Gore's Nobel Peace Prize. He graduated in 1969 with a degree in English literature. Harvard taught him how to learn, and he later said, learning was at the core of his acting. At Harvard, he also played football, wearing jersey number 61 as an offensive guard on the undefeated 1968 team. That season ended with a legendary game on November 23, 1968, against Yale. Harvard was trailing 29-13 with just 42 seconds left, then scored twice to tie 29-29. The next day, the school paper ran the headline, "Harvard beats Yale 29-29." Tommy was on the field during that final stretch. That game became so famous, it was made into a documentary in 2008. And in 2010, Tommy spoke at a screening, standing again in Dunster House. Tommy was also very involved in Harvard's theater scene. His performance in Coriolanus surprised everyone with how raw and intense it was. Professors and students talked about it for years afterward. Even then, it was clear he had something unusual. In 1967, he acted alongside John Lithgow in The Lady's Not for Burning, beginning a friendship that lasted for decades. When he received the Harvard Arts Medal in 2012, he said that college had been the most creatively important period of his life. After graduating, he moved to New York. His first professional play was A Patriot for Me, directed by Harold Pinter in 1969. In the following years, he appeared in Fortune and Men's Eyes, 4 on a Garden, Blue Boys, and Ulysses in Nighttown. To cover living expenses, he took a regular role on the soap opera One Life to Live, playing Dr. Mark Tolan from 1971 to 1975. His first film role came in 1970 with Love Story. It was small, but it got him noticed. The lead character in Love Story was partly inspired by Tommy and Al Gore, who had influenced author Eric Siegel during his Harvard years. The movie earned over $130 million and received 7 Oscar nominations. In 1977, Jones starred in The Amazing Howard Hughes, a 2-part TV movie that aired a year after Hughes's death. He played Hughes from a brilliant young inventor to a reclusive adult. Critics said it was one of the most accurate portrayals ever filmed. Jones captured Hughes's voice, mannerisms, and presence perfectly. That same year, he appeared in Rolling Thunder, playing a quiet, wounded Vietnam veteran. Reviews called him sensational. In 1978, he starred in Eyes of Laura Mars, playing a detective chasing a killer in a world of violent fashion photography. The movie made $20 million and became a cult favorite. That year, he also led The Betsy, portraying a race car driver designing a new car during the energy crisis. Despite his career, Tommy never left Texas behind. He built a 55-acre polo ranch in Sans Saba with 48 horse stalls, a training arena, and an exercise track. For over 15 years, he donated horses and money to Harvard's polo team. Students who trained at his ranch called it boot camp. He also owned a 50-acre polo farm in Florida, which he sold in 2013 for $2.675 million. He didn't care about glamour. He played polo on rough, dry land during droughts, because that's how cowboys did it. That was just who he was. In 1980, Tommy Lee Jones played Doolittle Lynn in Coal Miner's Daughter, which became a turning point. The film told the real-life story of Loretta Lynn and earned over $67 million at the box office, though it was made for only $15 million. Jones received his first Golden Globe nomination, while Sissy Spacek won the Oscar for Best Actress. The movie was shot entirely in Kentucky and Tennessee, making the story feel authentic. Intense bar scenes fueled speculation about what went on behind the camera, but nothing was ever confirmed. Nearly 40 years later, in 2019, the Library of Congress selected the film for the National Film Registry for its cultural and historical significance. In 1983, Jones took on one of his darkest roles as Gary Gilmore in The Executioner's Song, a chilling TV movie about a man who killed 2 people and demanded execution. He won an Emmy for the performance. The 4-hour movie, adapted from Norman Mailer's book, involved extensive research, including interviews with over 120 people. Jones's method acting was intense enough that some worried it might harm him, though there was never proof he put his health at risk. In 1986, he starred in The Park Is Mine, playing a Vietnam veteran who takes over Central Park to expose the mistreatment of veterans. Using weapons and plans left by a friend before his death, his character makes a dramatic statement. The story had the feel of a Rambo-style action film, with big explosions and a soundtrack by Tangerine Dream, yet no one was reported injured during production. In 1995, he directed and starred in the TV western The Good Old Boys. The project became personally significant because it was where he met Dawn Laurel, his future wife. At the time, he was 49 and still married to someone else, while Dawn, 31, worked as a camera assistant. They began dating on set and married on March 19, 2001, in Texas. Some critics called the movie a vanity project, and rumors claimed it went over budget by $500,000, though nothing was confirmed. In The Package, 1989, Jones played a prisoner and assassin caught in a Cold War conspiracy. The timing was unusual. Just 3 months later, the Berlin Wall fell, making the story suddenly feel outdated. He worked alongside Gene Hackman in difficult conditions. While reports mentioned freezing temperatures and tough shoots, there were no verified injuries or issues with training. His major Oscar win came in 1993 with The Fugitive, where he played Deputy U.S. Marshal Samuel Gerard. He won Best Supporting Actor over Leonardo DiCaprio and others. The film earned nearly $370 million worldwide. However, the more shocking story was Harrison Ford's ordeal. During a chase in the woods, Ford tore his ACL but kept filming without telling anyone. He also had a ruptured disc in his back and continued performing stunts. A famous jump scene had to be reshot due to failed pyrotechnics, and Ford was clearly in pain each time. In 1994, Jones went all out in Natural Born Killers. He played a completely unhinged prison warden, so extreme that director Oliver Stone had to battle the MPAA to avoid an NC-17 rating. The performance included unscripted rants, which infuriated studio executives. Stone ended up cutting scene after scene before finally securing an R rating on August 26, 1994. Later, the film was blamed for inspiring real-life violence and became known as one of the most controversial movies ever made. The following year, Batman Forever hit theaters in 1995. Beneath the flashy Two-Face makeup, tension was brewing. Jim Carrey approached Jones at a restaurant, and Jones didn't hold back. "I hate you. I cannot sanction your buffoonery," he told Carrey. At the time, Carrey was Hollywood's rising comedy star, but Jones had no interest in his style. The two had a tense working relationship on set, forcing director Joel Schumacher to step in frequently. Carey later said the encounter felt oddly personal but entirely genuine. In 1997, Jones appeared in Men in Black, combining comedy and action, though not without chaos. He frequently broke props and accidentally injured camera assistants. Director Barry Sonnenfeld recalled having to keep the neuralizer out of his hands until the final moment. Jones also made odd sound effects during takes, often ruining them without realizing it. On one shoot, during a car scene 15 feet in the air, Will Smith let out a terrible fart that almost made Jones pass out. Despite the mishaps, the film earned nearly $590 million and launched a full franchise. In Double Jeopardy, 1999, Jones insisted on performing all his own stunts in freezing river water. He had trained with the FBI for the role and refused a stunt double, even at age 56. During one scene, he became trapped underwater and nearly drowned before the crew rescued him. The movie still grossed $177 million, but it was a close call. In 2005, Jones directed and starred in The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada, a serious drama inspired by the real-life killing of a teenager near the border. He spent 2 years preparing, learned Spanish, and collaborated closely with writer Guillermo Arriaga, who won Best Screenplay at Cannes. Jones also won Best Actor there. The film earned less than $10 million, but highlighted his focus on craft over box office returns. In 2007's No Country for Old Men, Jones played Sheriff Ed Tom Bell. The film earned $171 million and won 4 Oscars, including Best Picture. Jones delivered the emotional core of the movie, especially in Bell's final reflection on facing unstoppable evil. The Coen brothers specifically wrote the role for him, trusting that his quiet presence could convey far more than dialogue alone. By 2010, Jones played a corporate executive in The Company Men, a drama about layoffs during the 2008 financial crisis. His character had built the company from scratch and now had to watch loyal employees lose their jobs. His performance captured the real-life struggles of that period. The film had a $15 million budget and was shot during ongoing economic uncertainty. In 2012, Jones appeared in Lincoln as Thaddeus Stevens, wearing a large black wig to replicate Stevens's alopecia. He wanted to shave his eyebrows too, but Spielberg refused. Jones studied Stevens's life for months and delivered passionate speeches, with scenes addressing the end of slavery among the most memorable in the film. By 2014, Jones was directing and starring in The Homesman. He and Hilary Swank portrayed 2 people transporting mentally ill women across dangerous frontier lands. The film showed the harsh realities of pioneer life and explored mental illness in a way rare for Westerns. With a $16 million budget, filming in New Mexico involved real horses, high winds, and challenging conditions. In 2016's Jason Bourne, Jones played CIA Director Dway, responsible for ordering Bourne's father's death. The film earned $415 million, but critics noted Jones looked weary. With multiple script rewrites, some felt he appeared disengaged. One reviewer even joked that his face resembled the Grand Canyon. A year later, Jones portrayed journalist Joe Galloway in Shock and Awe, a film about reporters exposing U.S. government claims before the Iraq War. The real journalists consulted on set to ensure accuracy, helping Jones capture the story authentically. Financially, he took a hit as well. In 2019, he sold his Wellington, Florida, Polo estate for $105 million, down from the $126.75 million listing in 2013, a loss of roughly $15.8 million. he had acquired parts of the property over the years: $2.95 million in 2002, $1.1 million in 2003, and $550,000 in 2012. The estate had 2 polo fields, dozens of stalls, and a staff house. He still maintains his massive 3,000-acre Texas ranch, complete with a 150-year-old home, 50 horses, and full cattle operations. Despite setbacks, Jones's net worth in 2025 remains estimated at $100 million, earned through films like The Fugitive, Men in Black, and No Country for Old Men, along with directing, producing, and writing. In 2012, he received the Dynastia Lifetime Achievement Award at the San Sebastian Film Festival, honoring over 70 films and decades of work. Back then, he was still active and strong. Now, he lives mostly quietly on his ranch, away from Hollywood, still respected, still feared, and still a figure shrouded in mystery.